I did want to quickly update you guys on the recall that's affecting over 460,000 Duramaxes, your 2500 HD, 3500 HD pickup trucks. Watch this video from start to finish. We have a lot going on in the shop as well. Now, this is just an update video from the last video that I posted several months ago, but there's some crucial information in here that I need you guys to pay attention to. But either way, I need to head to the parts store, get some stuff, get back to the garage, and then we'll go ahead and talk to you guys about what's going on with the current recall updates. Let's get started. All right, so welcome back to another awesome episode on the channel. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. As of right now, I'm working on a 2006 LBZ Duramax. If you watched the last video, we just pulled the turbo, the vanes were stuck. Actually, the vanes weren't stuck. The unison ring was stuck and it wasn't allowing the vanes to open. And that's why I have the cab pulled. So we're kind of doing a mild build right now. So stay with me on this one. If you guys want to continue to watch till the end, I'm going to continue to plug away at this. We got some new parts we're going to throw at it. But either way, the subject of this video right now is that massive Allison 10-speed recall that really nobody's talking about. Several months ago, I made a YouTube video about the thousands of HD GM pickup trucks that are on the road that are currently under recall because the rear ends are locking up on them. So I wanted to quickly talk about some updates on the recall and really what you need to look for. And if you don't know that you're under recall, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to find out if your truck is currently under recall as well. Their answer to this recall as far as the rear end locking up on these trucks while they're on the road was to throw a software at it, a Band-Aid. As of right now, the biggest update is a brand new valve body. I guess it's more updated, it's more upgraded. But here's the thing, not every single truck is going to get one of these new valve bodies. So if you got a Duramax or a GM truck with a 10-speed, this is a heads up. This might actually save you from a major accident or possibly damaging your vehicle, or I don't want to say this, but maybe injury, because there's already been reports of 3 minor injuries because of this. But the idea with the software was to monitor the hydraulic pressure inside the transmission so they could catch the problem before it actually turned dangerous. But that software update was actually the first step in what turned into a massive national recall. But here's what's happening inside of the transmission. So there's a valve in the valve body that controls pressure, and over time that bore wears out. So when it gets sloppy, the transmission can actually slam into a lower gear unexpectedly. And there's been tons of reports on this already, but the rear end will skip. It will skid, if you will. So during that sudden downshift, the rear wheels will lock up for a second and then move again. And that's where things get sketchy. That sudden downshift can lock the rear wheels for a split second. So if you're towing on slick roads or just driving at highway speeds, that can put you in a bad situation really fast. And this isn't just like a rare glitch. This is a big enough problem that GM had to issue a recall on it. So again, the recall affects roughly 460,000 plus vehicles, and mostly affecting the 2020 through 2022 Silverado HDs, also the Sierra HDs, and some SUVs and other GM products that use the 10L1000 transmission. So if you got a 6.6 liter Duramax with the Allison branded 10-speed, the Allison branded 10-speed, sort of a tangent here, I made a YouTube video about what is the best Duramax to own, and we actually narrowed it down to the 17 to 19s because it's the latest model that still used the Allison 6-speed transmission. But between the LBZ Duramax and the L5P 17 to 19s, if you're trying to buy a used pickup truck, I would say that's definitely the one to get. As a matter of fact, GM even extended the special coverage to 15 years or 150,000 miles. So even if your truck's out of warranty, you're still covered, but you do got to check with your local dealer. They're going to be able to look at your VIN number and see if you do have the extended warranty. But you can also check your VIN on GM's recall site or the NHTSA website. So if you're on that list, don't ignore it. That's all I'm trying to say. And just so you know, I'm not trying to over-exaggerate what's going on. There's been real stories, real cases of this actually happening. That's why I'm making this video. But like, for example, a 2021 Sierra 2500, the owner reported that their rear wheels locked up on them while they were towing a trailer, and it actually caused a skid and it damaged the truck and the trailer. Another driver reported that the truck shuddered and then downshifted violently, and it almost jackknifed their trailer. And I went on some forums and I found a 2024 Trail Boss owner with just 8,000 miles, and he said that the truck went into limp mode. And also it stopped the reverse from working. And the dealer diagnosed a blown valve body with no parts available for weeks, so that truck was sitting there for a very long time. And these are just isolated incidences. You can go on Google and check all this out. There's tons of stuff. I was reading a bunch of other examples here. But if you go on GM's safety reporting list, you're going to find hundreds of field reports of rear wheel lockups or related issues like this. Actually, 11 incidences where the trucks veered off or went off the road, and at least 3 minor injuries linked to this defect. So first of all, how do you get the update? And second, how do I get that new valve body, that new updated valve body? So here's the deal. Before you take your truck in, this is something that you really need to know. So the first step is the software update. It doesn't actually replace anything. It watches for hydraulic pressure drop, and if it sees a sign of wear, it throws a code and locks the transmission into 5th gear, which is limp mode, of course. And the limp mode is to keep the transmission from locking up at a higher speed. But here's the thing, not everybody's automatically getting a new valve body. So GM is only replacing them if your truck throws a code or shows any sort of symptoms. So yeah, you could leave the dealer with the same old hardware still inside, just the software waiting to catch it when it fails. You see, I'm hoping that we'll make a big enough deal about it that GM will almost have no choice but to put brand new updated valve bodies in your 2020 plus HD pickup trucks. This is ridiculous. I can't believe that we're having this conversation. I understand that they're looking out for the best interests of their company, but their customers are suffering, man. I'm telling you, this is a huge deal. As a matter of fact, I know with this small channel, it's probably not going to get a whole lot of views, but do me a favor and hit the like button. So maybe the right people will see this and possibly make a bigger deal about it. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But for the trucks that do qualify, GM is now shipping out Gen 3 valve bodies. So this is a new part number. It's a stronger spring, revised valve, new plate, all meant to slow down the wear. You see, it's better than the original valve body, but it's not a total redesign. And here's the other thing, supply is limited, so some trucks are sitting at dealerships for months waiting on these parts. Now on a quick side note, if you want to support the channel and upgrade your ride, check out truckmasterdiesel.com. We got tons of diesel performance parts and merch, and right now every $1 that you spend on the website will get you guys 50 times entries into winning our lifted Silverado giveaway. And who knows, this truck could be sitting in your driveway. Somebody's going to win this pickup. It might as well be you, so I'll leave a link in the description as well as the comments. Get your entries in while you still can. But let's talk about that G3 valve body versus aftermarket. So GM basically reinforced a few weak spots in this. So the aftermarket builder like Next Gen Drivetrain, they are going way deeper. They're machining the bores using hardened valves. They also redesigned the problem areas from the ground up. There's some pros and cons. Of course, aftermarket just isn't covered under GM's recall. But if you tow heavy and maybe your truck's tuned, or you plan on keeping your truck for years, you say that this is your baby and you plan on just riding it out till it dies, I would say do it. Pick up one of those next gen valve bodies. They're a great option. They're a lot better than those Gen 3s. Check it out really quick. This is the next gen valve body kit, and we do offer these on the website, so you guys know. Just in case you have a 2020 plus and you just want to do the aftermarket option, which of course is the best option. But again, I got to reiterate it, you'll probably void your warranty, but there's the kit right there. I know I keep saying valve body upgrade and valve body. Really, what is that? Maybe I should have said that in the beginning of the video, I apologize, but the valve body is basically the brains of the transmission's hydraulics. That's pretty much what it is. And it directs flow to different clutch packs. It also controls gear shifts. So if it wears out or fails, the whole transmission can act up in a really big way. But the next gen valve body upgrade for the Allison 10-speed isn't just a replacement. It's really a full re-engineered unit if you think about it. They machine the bores, they use hardened valves, they improve the sealing, and of course, they fix the weak points that cause the factory valve body to wear out. And really, it just results in tighter hydraulics, of course, more reliable shifting, and way less risk for the downshift and lockup problems that triggered the recall in the first place. So this is really the answer, guys. This is the solution. If you already plan on voiding your warranty, or maybe you can get away with it, do this. It's a good peace of mind, it really is. But here's what you want to do. You want to check your VIN and get the software update if you haven't already. Now listen, if your truck trips the code, push for the Gen 3 valve body when you're at the dealership. And keep records of everything, dates, codes, dealer visits. Now other than the scary stories about valve bodies locking up the rear ends and things like that, the Allison 10-speed is an animal. It's a great transmission. Lots of people love these transmissions when it works. The peace of mind of just getting a handle on this valve body issue on your transmission, whether you're an owner or you plan on buying one here in the future, if you could just get that done, this transmission will be great. This update's relatively pretty new. As a matter of fact, they're already pushing Gen 3 valve bodies to local dealerships right now as we speak. But I'm going to keep you guys updated on the Gen 3 in the weeks to come as they're more in the field, as they're more being tested on real world trucks. But what I do know about the next gen valve body kits out there, they're performing great. People are not having issues with them. That's the solution, but again, it could void a recall. If you've already had your truck
in the shop for this exact reason. If you've already gotten the valve body, if you've already gotten the software update, let us know in the comments your experience. This is such a controversial topic. The comment section, I think, is going to blow up. So let us know in the comments your experience. We all would love to read it. And again, hit that like button. But I'm done talking your guys' head off. Again, I'll leave that link in the description, that NHTSA website. Put your VIN in there, see if you are affected by the recall. In the meantime, I need to get this cab back down. I got a lot of work to do on this LBZ Duramax. Let's go ahead and get to this.
If you guys want to watch how to install a lift pump on a Duramax, I would say 01 to 2016. Check this out. It's very similar. The process is very similar. It's pretty straightforward when the cab is up, of course, but it's really tough when the cab is on because of this harmonic balancer bolt right here. You have to remove that. That thing's torqued to like 280 foot-pounds of torque. You're gonna need a big giant breaker bar, a 36 millimeter 12-point socket. But since I have a big Milwaukee, I should be able to break that free, no problem. But it would have to be like a breaker bar, cheater pipe on top of cheater pipe, and a buddy. It's a nightmare. These are not fun to break free. With the cab on, you're gonna have to remove that. You're also gonna have to get underneath the truck, remove the inspection plate where the bell housing is. And you're gonna need this tool with these little teeth on there to block the flywheel in order to stop the harmonic balancer from spinning when you're trying to break that bolt loose. So it's a lot of work, but since we're already here, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this right now. Imagine a dealership or a diesel shop would probably charge you about 2,500 bucks, maybe 2,000, 2,500 bucks, maybe more to replace a water pump nowadays. This part's, only a couple $100. It's crazy. But if you could do it yourself, you're gonna save yourself a ton of money. But on the agenda today, I'm replacing that. I'm gonna show you guys how to install that. I'm also going to be replacing the transmission lines that go to the cooler to go all the way back to the transmission. But I am gonna skip the guesswork and put some really nice parts on there. So, fleece right here. Fleece is the way to go, man. They do a great job putting these kits together. I've never had a single issue with their fittings. Nothing, man. These things don't leak. I know that this kit's a little more expensive than the cheap ones, but you don't have to worry about them leaking, so that's a plus. This is part number XD671, XDP Extra Cool water pump with housing. Of course, while I'm there, I'm going to replace the idler pulleys. Sometimes when you spin them, you can hear sort of a bearing wear noise. Usually when that happens, you do want to replace them, especially with a lot of miles on them. Just make sure that they're spinning freely. Check for shaft play. You want to kind of rock them, forward and backward. There's a little bit of shaft play on that one. But either way, another part that you can replace while you're there, and belt tensioner. The whole assembly. Don't just replace that. Just replace everything. You got to remove this bolt anyways to remove that little tiny pulley. So you might as well just go ahead and put a brand new one on there. They're like 90 bucks at the parts store. This will be fun. Let me show you really quickly how to replace a water pump. So 36 millimeter 12 point. That breaks with ease. And then the harmonic balancer sits on a keyway, which is right here. So you're gonna kind of have to, wiggle it back and forth, rock it. Should slide right off, no problem. And then next I'm gonna go ahead and remove the fan pulley bracket. It's gonna be held on by 3 bolts and 2 nuts, which are gonna be 14 millimeter. And yes, you have to remove this because there's a bolt on the water pump that you have to remove. The only way to get access to that, which is right here, is to remove this entire assembly. And next we're gonna go ahead and drop this hose, 8 millimeter. And I'm telling you right now, this is messy. This is gonna get everywhere. So make sure you have a pan underneath there ready to catch all the fluid. That wasn't too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this hard line right here. It's a 12 millimeter. And there we go. Go ahead and install the new one. I did swap over the studs from the old housing to the new housing. And of course I just installed a brand new gasket on there. It comes with the kit. Yep, I think that worked. All right, so we're in. We know we're in because it sits all the way in like that, flush with the front cover. Now once we're done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and run those two 12 millimeter nuts these two right here. I'm not gonna go crazy on this. I'm gonna torque this down to spec, but on the top of the housing, there's a little slot where you can place the O-ring right in there. But do yourself a favor, when you take this tube off, go ahead and clean up the mating surface of that side, because if you don't, you're gonna have a leak here and it won't be fun to replace, I promise. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in right now. All right, that should do it. So brand new XTP water pump, brand new transmission lines installed, good to go. Of course, once I put the cab down, I'm gonna go ahead and run the fittings in the transmission cooler. It would be really cool to put one of those PPE transmission coolers in there, but for now, that's fine. But we got some exciting upgrades to come. It's gonna be a mild build. We're not going over the top. This is, I wanna say this is a customer ride. This is actually a friend of a friend's truck. He brought it into my garage, and I just kinda wanna help the guy out, get him back on the road. This is the old turbo, if you didn't watch the last video. The guy brought the truck to my garage because it had a P003A, which is a vane position code, and it wasn't allowing the vanes to open and close all the way. So I went ahead and removed the turbo. I removed the unison ring off of the other side of the turbo, and this unison ring was completely stuck. And that's what was going on. It wasn't allowing these vanes to open and close the way they should. That's what you're looking at. If you have a VGT turbo, variable geometry turbo, and you hear the term vanes, it's those things right there. They open and close. That's what you're looking at. That's a unison ring, and it's actuated by a turbo actuator. It's interesting because the guy installed a brand new vane position sensor, and sometimes these are the culprit because this little button right here gets stuck over time and it won't push in all the way. And when that happens, you basically got to replace the entire sensor, or the sensor just gets, you know, old and corroded, and it's not making a very good connection. Instead of throwing a bunch of parts and sensors at it, we did figure out what was going on. The unison ring was in fact stuck, and it wasn't allowing these vanes to open and close. So that was the culprit. That's it for today's video. This is in fact our giveaway truck. It's a 2017 Silverado lifted on a brand new set of Nitto Ridge grapplers, 22-inch rims, Vertex coilover shocks, Boost Auto Parts, power steps. All lighting is from Boost Auto Parts. A little mod right here from Boost Auto. They fold in and out, which is kind of cool. But yeah, off-road bumpers, I mean, you name it. I'm not even done with this build. I'm going to continue to work on it throughout the duration of the giveaway. As a matter of fact, I have some more parts coming in for this beast, so I can't wait to release that video, that install video. But that is it. We'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned.